Today's video is a little bit different because I'm not doing all the talking. Instead, I'm bringing on an expert to discuss press releases. All right, so I've got Doug Brown here with me from newswire.net. We work with Doug a lot. We publish a lot of material through newswire.net, and there's a reason for it. And I've invited Doug to come on and share what press releases really mean in 2015, how it helps with the overall presence. You hear me a lot on YouTube talking about it being the blend that makes marketing online so effective. It's not just about social. It's not just about SEO. So let's look at what press releases can do to help fill a lot of those gaps. Say hi, Doug.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sean. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to get to share my passion, which are press releases.
So press releases, at least from my experience, you know, in the early days of SEO, back when SEO was easy to do, but no one really knew about it, we'd use press releases because they get picked up and syndicated, and then those links would get passed on, and it was a great way to build links and get some authority and exposure. But that's not really the case anymore. And some people are saying that press releases are darn near worthless or useless for SEO. But as you and I both know, they're very useful. However, their utilities kind of changed. So,
well, you know, it's changed a little bit, but in some ways, it's kind of come back to what we used to know and love. You know, Google is a fickle mistress. You know, you can court her, and she just changes and changes and changes. But you know, there was a great article published on Reuters just less than a month ago, and it was talking about the resurgence of press releases. And that was kind of a funny thing to me because, in my opinion, press releases have never gone anywhere. They've always been very valuable. But especially during the Matt Cutts days at Google, they were diminished a little bit. And it used to be that we could create all sorts of links in press releases and that they would pass link juice on to the target sites. Matt Cutts had the opinion that that shouldn't be the case, and that that press releases were really just another paid link. And as kind of you know, as Google went after paid links from all sorts of places, there was a feeling, whether it was true or not, that press releases kind of got wound up in that. And so what we and some of the other major press release companies started doing was making the links that we created no follow links. And I'm sure you've taught your people what no follow links are, but it's just a special kind of animal that Matt Cutts kind of came up with, and it was a way to link without necessarily passing link juice, page rank on to the you know, to the site from one site to another. Well, you know, that's kind of changed also, and the value of links that flow from one site to the other, whether they're follow links or no follow links, appear to be live and well. I mean, as things have changed in SEO, you know, the old story, the more they change, the more they stay the same. And you know, there's a lot of factors in SEO nowadays, but links are still, you know, a lot of people think 50% or more of the factor in SEO, and press release links are awesome links. You know,
even no follow press release links.
Yeah, we've done a lot of analytics and tracking on that, and we can't hardly find any difference at all between the value of a follow link and a no follow link. So for all the noise that was made a couple of years ago about no follow links, and Newswire is one of the few places that allow people to still make any kind of link they want. So we allow you to edit the HTML of your article, and if you choose to make follow links, you can make follow links. If you choose to make no follow links, we actually make them by default. So the links that you make by default are no follow links, but we allow our members to change them and make them regular follow links. So you know, but if I were to say what is the value of a press release, I would say that the value of the pressure of a press release, maybe 10% of it is the SEO value. It's not really, that's not really the reason that you should do it. If you're trying to build links, there's probably better ways to do it than do press releases. But it's definitely one of the values and one of the ancillary benefits of a press release is the links that come from Newswire, which is a great site, high authority site, and we syndicate to be tens or hundreds or even thousands of other sites will pick up the press releases we publish, and so there's some value in those links also.
Well, we all know that the purpose of SEO has kind of changed too. Being at the top of page 1 of Google or Bing, which we don't want to ignore, certainly these days.
Never want to ignore Bing.
Nope. But being at the top of the search engines isn't the credibility or the piece of credibility that it used to be. It's not like, well, I'm at the top of Lycos, so everyone's going to buy from me and I can retire on a beach. Now it's kind of a... Yeah, we're editing
Bless
that
you.
out. It's kind of the... It's a feather in the cap, a notch in the belt, if you will, but it isn't the clout that having a trail, a digital paper trail, if you will, of press coverage over time, even more valuable than what short-term search engine gains you can get from press releases?
Well, that was my point. I'd say 10% of the value of a press release is the SEO value. The real value is the credibility that it brings, and just making your online presence felt, controlling the narrative about you and your product. Those are the values of a press release. We have to be in charge of our reputations nowadays. There's just almost not an instance where a search doesn't precede a purchase. And I mean, that goes from hamburgers to heart surgery and everything in between. A search precedes a purchase nowadays.
Don't hamburgers also precede heart surgery?
You know what? I didn't even think about it that way, but that's true. Well, lean, we won't get into the paleo thing right now. But,
okay.
So maybe it's the bun that precedes the surgery. I don't know. But at any rate, there are very few purchases, and there's lots of good stuff. Forrester's done some stuff that says that 90% of all purchases are preceded by a search. And I think that in some categories, it's close to 100%. But the point is, it doesn't matter if you're selling a service, a product, or something else. Your credibility is important, and you're obligated nowadays to control the narrative surrounding you and your products. And that's the value of a press release. You can, through a PR campaign, you can control the narrative. And that's what's important nowadays.
Now, when it comes to PR, there's a lot that we can do ourselves as business owners, as brands, to talk about ourselves across all sorts of platforms. We can all have a Facebook page and a Twitter account and so on. But that's still just us talking about ourselves. But funny enough, I've seen this, and I know you've seen it, and I'd like you to speak to it, about when you write a press release about your own business and you publish it through a service such as newswire.net, something funny happens. Even if I write something about Sean Burrows or Enliven Group and publish it on newswire.net and it says by Sean Burrows, I've seen a much higher adoption rate or an acceptance rate as far as click-throughs and people's response to it, because it's news. This credibility indicator we see just because it's news. It just seems to have this automatic clout to it, not clout with a K, but credibility and authority to it that your own blog doesn't have otherwise.
Absolutely right. I mean, again, why do people search before they purchase? They search for validation. They search to find out if somebody else thinks it's right. They search to find out if they're dealing with a credible person, a credible company, a quality product. And by putting your information in a place where it is credible, as opposed to your own website, which by definition is kind of not credible. Not that your information shouldn't be there, but I mean, obviously, your website is your website. It's something that you use to sell, you use to convey your message. At any rate, third-party validation is kind of the term that I throw out there in regard to that. So we need to have third-party validation of ourselves, our reputation, our products, and all those kind of things. And those things are well accomplished through a press release. I was doing a little reading this weekend and came across something that I always knew was true, but it was said in a way that I found very interesting. And the point of this writer was that spending advertising dollars, are really only spent to defend your position. You can't create a position with advertising. In other words, you can't create a brand with advertising. You can't create, a product presence with advertising. All you can do is defend your position that you've created through public relations, through publicity, through putting things out, through having people find out about your message in a credible way. Advertising, by definition, is not credible. It's something that people perceive, and rightly so, as a paid message from the sponsor. What's the sponsor going to say? My hamburgers cause heart attacks? No.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, it was really interesting to think about it in that way, that advertising dollars only defend market share. They can't create market share. Interesting thought, that market share is only created, that brands are only created through publicity and through organic means.
So when it comes to using PR and press releases, public relations and press releases to establish a credibility footprint on the web, how do you see it tying people's search efforts and social efforts together? How do you see press releases connecting to people trying to build followings and credibility for themselves on other platforms, and how it ties into what's being published on news sites, both your own and others?
Well, I think that, again, it's all interrelated. So my Twitter feed, my Facebook page is, again, by definition, my message. And, it's not a lot different than my advertising. I can go out and say something, and no matter where I say it, it's still me that's saying it. So the third-party validation that can come by being published in other places, in other credible places, news, the earning media placement is invaluable. And, consumers nowadays are very sophisticated. They understand the difference between, salesmanship and information. And it's hard to blur the line. It's hard to deceive someone, to put something out as a, we've all read magazines and seen the little print at the top. This is a paid advertisement, but it looks like a news piece that's about this great diet aid, but it has the little disclaimer at the top. This is paid content. The little 30-second thing in front of the infomercial on television, ABC, Utah, or whatever, doesn't endorse the content of the following paid advertising. So, consumers are becoming very sophisticated. It's nothing new. They understand the difference between an advertisement and a paid placement and third-party validation. And by getting yourself in the news, you're creating that third-party validation that just goes a long way. And press releases are kind of the entree into that kind of third-party news validation.
And back, kind of circling back to the SEO thing, I think Josh Baczynski puts it best when he's constantly ranting that Google doesn't rank websites, Google ranks entities. I think he actually pounds his fist too, but the whole idea that with Google's entity search now, their entire view that the website isn't the central hub of a brand's existence anymore. They're looking at the entire digital footprint now. Certainly the the press releases help kind of tie all that together, don't they?
Absolutely. Google again is real good at kind of giving misdirection as to what they really are looking for, and looking for things, and telling you that they're looking for things that they hope they could look for in the future, or whatever it happens to be. But if you think about the mission of Google, why does Google exist? Well, let's not even get into that big of a question. But I mean,
Skynet.
Yeah. Google exists, Google search exists because it provides relevant results to people that are looking. So if you were in charge of Google search, how would you figure out how to give them the right results? Well, the number of links may not be the best way. The meta description that somebody puts in an article may not be the best way. You're looking at deeper things. You're looking at engagement, and that's what Josh is talking about when he pounds on the table. Google is trying to look at brands. They're trying to look at a presence. They're trying to look at a company, trying to look at its entire existence and say, is this a credible search to return when somebody types in a certain keyword? And if it's not, then Google's going to be out of business, right? I mean, somebody else is going to figure it out better than they are. DuckDuckGo or whoever it's going to be is going to figure it out better if Google can't return relevant results for searches. So how would you do it? Well, you would try to figure out a way to say, this is a credible entity, this is a credible person, this is a credible product, whatever it is. You would try and give the most relevant result back that you possibly could. So anything that you can manipulate easily, like links, like metadata, if it can be manipulated, then it's not indicative of the right result that Google wants to return. So they're trying to cast their net as far and wide as they can. They want to see the social engagement of a company. They want to see, the news engagement of a company. They want to see, all we can do is sit and guess. But if we were going to guess, if we were going to have Google's job and we had unlimited resources like they have, you'd throw a pretty wide net, wouldn't you? You'd try and find all the information you could and bring that back into the search thing. So if that's our job as the information managers of a company, we have to kind of anticipate that and say, how wide can we throw our net? How do we tie all this stuff together? How do we can't exclude anything that they may be looking for. And news is one of those things. Social is one of those things. Content, as you well know, is one of those things. One of those great indicators that you have relevant, something relevant to return for a search. Let your imagination run wild, and you won't be too far off.
Well, thanks a lot, Doug. A lot of valuable information. More of me proverbially pounding my fist about it being the proper blend to tie in the social and search efforts. It's not about one technique anymore. In fact, anyone that relies on one technique is, if they haven't already, going to find out that they're losing and missing out big time.
If you rely on one technique, you are by definition trying to manipulate Google, and they'll figure it out. Somebody that has 1 million links and no news is obviously working on links. That's as simple as it is.
Or no social footprint.
Or no social, or no news, or no links. All those things have to come together in some sort of blend that that indicates that you're the real deal, and you can't leave any of it out, unfortunately.
Or fortunately, we want people that find our stuff to trust us and believe us. It's not like I started with. It's not enough to be at the top of the search engines anymore. That's not going to convert anybody. They're going to check you out. People's BS meters are more sensitive and skilled and intelligent than ever, and the masses are going to figure out that you're full of crap, even if you do make 1 or 2 sales.
It's just a click away. The truth is just a click away.
Well, thanks again, Doug. I appreciate
my pleasure,
your time.
Sean. Let's talk again soon.
Yep. Whatever you do, don't subscribe to my channel. I don't want it to give me a big head.